talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out.
Hey, I mean, that was a good point.
I think we might start seeing some go back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of the Texas Two-Seam podcast, part of Outdrink the Coverage on L4 Media. My name is Ryan Fox. Happy to be with you guys today for episode 10 of Texas Two-Seam, presented by Car Motor Company. Again, Car Motor Company located in downtown Cleburne, Texas at 302 South Caddo in downtown Cleburne. They're open from 9 to 5:30 on Tuesday through Friday, and then 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock on Saturday, open 5 days a week. And you can reach them online at www.txcar.com. That's www.txkar.com, or you can give them a call at 817-666-1111. Car Motor Company is your first and only destination for classic and late model vehicles. And again, they have the special going on. If you mention Texas Two-Seam during your next visit to Car Motor Company, they'll give you $200 off any vehicle purchase. That's any vehicle, both classic or late model, $200 off when you mention Texas Two-Seam. So huge shout out again, as always, to Car Motor Company for their support of Texas Two-Seam. And again, you can follow all of our pages on social media, all Texas Two-Seam, L4 Media, Outdrink the Coverage. All the links for all of our social media platforms are in the description below. Whether you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform or viewing us on YouTube, all the links for our social media links will be in the description below. And of course, as always, we're partnered with the Texas Rangers Fans Only Facebook page. They just reached 9,000 followers. Let's help them reach their goal of 10,000 by the end of the season. It's one of the greatest and most tight-knit Rangers communities on the internet. The Texas Rangers Fans Only Facebook page. Let's get them to 10,000 members. The link for that page is also in the description below. And again, one more reminder, All-Star voting is still going on. So let's get the Texas Rangers players to play in the All-Star game on their field. Again, you can go to rangers.com/vote. The Rangers on the ballot for the All-Star voting in the American League are Nathaniel Lowe, Marcus Simeon, Josh Smith, Corey Seager, Jonah Heim, Evan Carter, Adolis Garcia, Leody Taveras, and Josh Young in the designated hitter spot. Again, Marcus Simeon and Corey Seager are both in the top three of their positions in All-Star voting. So let's keep voting. Again, if you vote 5 times a day, Rangers fans can enjoy 25% off tickets to 3 home series: the Toronto Blue Jay series, the series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then the Chicago White Sox series. Fans can enjoy 25% off any of those 3 series when you vote 5 times a day at rangers.com/vote. Again, the players listed on the ballot: Nathaniel Lowe, Marcus Simeon, Josh Smith, Corey Seager, Jonah Heim, Evan Carter, Adolis Garcia, Leody Taveras, and Josh Young on the ballot for your Texas Rangers. So again, be sure to go to rangers.com/vote to vote in your Rangers as the All-Star game commences at home at Globe Life Field later in July. So again, a lot to talk about in today's show. The return of Max Scherzer over the weekend, the Rangers completing their first 3-game series sweep of the entire season. It took till near the end of June to make that happen, but they did so over the weekend against the Kansas City Royals. We'll recap that series, as well as Max Scherzer's first start of the season. Kind of look at the hot streaks. The 2 players that have been carrying the Rangers offensively for the past week or so, both Wyatt Langford and Josh Smith. We'll break down their numbers as well. And just a recap of the Rangers winning streak. Now, they did drop game 1 in their Milwaukee series. The Milwaukee Brewers leading the National League Central right now, as they've done for most of the season. They took game one in comeback fashion against the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers at American Family Field last night. So we'll recap that and look back over the weekend at the Rangers' 4-game winning streak going into that series. The Rangers have now won 4 of the last 5 with that loss last night against the Milwaukee Brewers. And we'll look ahead to the next 2 games of the series against the Brewers, and then another important American League series for the Rangers following this interleague series against the Brewers. They'll be on the road to Camden Yards for an ALDS rematch against the Baltimore Orioles. So we'll preview that series as well. The Orioles coming off just getting swept by the Houston Astros, who currently have a 6-game winning streak. And we'll take a look at that one as well, as they will play they start a 2-game series tonight against the Colorado Rockies. They have a 2-game series before they go on a 10-game road trip. So we'll talk about that one as well, and a whole bunch else. And also one more thing before we go to our break. I've secured it. Next week we will have Jeff Wilson of Rangers Today on the show. Probably have him on as kind of a mid-season review. He's been doing Rangers Today for a very long time now. And also for all our TCU sports fans or alumni out there, he also does Frogs Today, the TCU athletics newsletter. He does that on top of Rangers Today, which he's done for a long time. We'll have him on next week to get his kind of thoughts on where the Rangers are as we're approaching the halfway point of the season, and kind of talk to him more about how he started Rangers Today with the newsletter, the podcast, and everything. So look forward to that. We will have Jeff Wilson of Rangers Today next week on the show. All that to say, we will go to our quick break, and when we come back, we'll have a breakdown and episode 10 of the Texas Two-Seam podcast, part of Outdrink the Coverage on L4 Media. Car Motor Company is your destination for classic and late model vehicles in north central Texas, located at 302 South Caddo in downtown Cleburne. They have everything you're looking for, from classic cars and trucks to late model cars and trucks, convertibles, and SUVs. If you'd like to call ahead of your visit, they can be reached at 817-666-1111. With inventory changing weekly, there's a little bit of everything at Car Motor Company. Be sure to visit the website www.txcar.com. That's www.txkar.com to keep up with their ever-changing inventory. They're open from 9 to 5:30 on Tuesday through Friday, and at 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock on Saturdays, closed Sunday and Monday. And also, if you mention this advertisement and Texas Two-Seam during your next visit to Car Motor Company, they'll give you $200 off any vehicle purchase. Stop by Car Motor Company while you shop and eat in historic downtown Cleburne. Again, you can give them a call at 817-666-1111 or visit their website at www.txcar.com. That's www.txkar.com. And welcome back to episode 10 of the Texas Two-Seam podcast, part of Outdrink the Coverage on L4 Media. How about that? 10 episodes already. I guess you can blame Terry Bennett for giving me the opportunity to do this and make y'all have to listen to me talk Rangers for the 10th time, but we appreciate you guys returning. And also, if you haven't checked it out already, we do have a couple special episodes from earlier this year. Back a couple months ago, towards the beginning of the season, I had a chance to interview Rangers Hall of Famer Jim Sundberg, talking about his career and his life post-baseball. About a 27, 28-minute interview there. So if you haven't checked that out, that's on your favorite podcast platform, as well as this L4 Media YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. Also, we did our first baseball look back. Now, if you've been following L4 Media and Outdrink the Coverage for a while now, you do know they have the look backs when it comes to football, more specifically with the Dallas Cowboys and the rivalries. The newest episode of that just dropped recently as well, right here on L4 Media's YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do that. But a couple weeks ago, we also did our first baseball look back, where we did a look back at the 1994-1995 Major League Baseball strike. So we have a whole episode on that. That's also on L4 Media's YouTube channel. It's on this playlist for Texas 2 Team as well. So if you haven't checked those out, go ahead and do that. And we have a lot of interviews lined up, as we mentioned before the break. Jeff Wilson of Rangers Today we will have next week. We're also working on a couple former Rangers players to have on the show, including a player that was a part of the 2010 and 2011 back-to-back American League champion Rangers teams. And I'll just leave it at that. We're working on that one. We'll have him on very soon as well. So that's as much as I'll say. I'll leave the tease at that, but we'll look forward to that one as well. We'll give you more information on that one as we get kind of dates and times solidified for that interview. But a former Ranger that was part of the Rangers' first two ever World Series appearance teams back-to-back will be joining us on the show probably in early July. So keep an eye on that one as well. But let's go ahead and start today's rundown of the show. And let's start Max Scherzer on Sunday afternoon, making his first start of the 2024 season for the Texas Rangers. He went 5 innings, only gave up 1 hit, no runs, and 4 strikeouts, no walks. So that the only base runner he gave up the entire outing in 5 innings was just that 1 hit. So phenomenal, outing for Max Scherzer in his first start of the season. Of course, he was on a pitch count. That's why he only went 5 innings. But pitching as stellar as he did, that's something you'd love to see. And, of course, you'd like to see, hopefully, if he stays healthy, he'll get more innings with each start as he slowly starts to get back in the groove of things at the major league level. But still, a great first start for the future Hall of Famer, 3-time Cy Young Award winner pitcher for the Rangers, Max Scherzer, as he went 5 innings, only giving up 1 hit, no runs, and 4 strikeouts to no walks. And following that on Sunday afternoon, which closed out the first 3-game series sweep for the Rangers this season. Now, the Rangers did have one series sweep earlier this season, but it was a 2-game series sweep back in May when they had a World Series rematch at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They took both games in that series. Now, the Rangers later on this season, they will have the 2 other games against the Arizona Diamondbacks to complete their 4-game season series at Chase Bank Field in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's later on in the season as well. But still, this 3-game series over the Royals, the sweep for the Rangers, that's the first one they've had all season. And this stellar performance by Max Scherzer kind of closed that out on Sunday afternoon as the Rangers took Game 3 of that series 4-0. And following Max Scherzer's performance was a stellar 4-inning save by Jose Urena. He pitched 4 innings in relief of Max Scherzer, only giving up 1 hit himself in those 4 innings and completing the save, and which is part of going into this Milwaukee series. Prior to Game 1 of that series, the Rangers pitching had a 21-inning scoreless streak, which, of course, was broken in last night's game against the Milwaukee Brewers. Again, actually, it was extended to, I believe, a 25 or 26-inning scoreless streak before the Rangers kind of gave that up. Jacob Latz giving up the grand slam to Rhys Hoskins of the Brewers, which kind of turned that game around and ended up resulting in the 6-3 loss for the Rangers. But prior to all that, the Rangers' 4-game winning streak, they closed out the New York Mets series, in which they lost the first 2 of that series with the win, and then get the 3-game series sweep at home against a very good Royals team, kind of keeping those stars like Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt Jr. At bay to get that first 3-game series sweep of the season. And the pitching in that series was just phenomenal as well, and was closed off by Max Scherzer, who now is 11th all-time in career strikeouts in Major League Baseball, now tied with Greg Maddux for 11th all-time. So congratulations to Max Scherzer for that one as well. And then going back real quick to Jose Urena, in his last 4 outings, counting Sunday afternoon, he is at a 0.56 ERA, 0.50 WHIP, and 16 innings pitched. He struck out 11 batters and only walked 3, and opposing batters were hitting 102 against Jose Urena, which is fantastic. There's no debate there. It's nice that you see that from guys, and a guy that's been in a long relief role. He's actually started a game a few weeks ago when they played the Detroit Tigers at home. Jose Urena had a start, and he pitched 5 no-hit innings before giving up a home run in that game against Detroit and gotten taken out. And I was actually at that game, So it's pretty cool to witness that. And another game I got to go to over the past week was game 2 of that New York Mets series, which was a week ago today on June 18th. Last Tuesday, Wyatt Langford, although the Rangers had a 6-2 lead and lost it due to poor relief pitching, Wyatt Langford had his first ever career over the fence home run. If you'll remember earlier this season, he did get his first major league home run, but it was an inside the Parker. So it was pretty dang cool to see Wyatt Langford's first ever over the fence home run in person last Tuesday, and that was huge. And then he followed suit on Saturday afternoon during the Rangers 3-game series against the Kansas City Royals. He hit a grand slam, which solidified a 6-0 victory for the Rangers on Saturday afternoon against the Royals. So he now has 2 career over-the-fence home runs, 3 for his major league career overall home runs. And it was pretty cool to see in 1 week he gets his first over-the-fence home run, and then just a few days later gets his first career grand slam. So Wyatt Langford's really hot right now, as well as Josh Smith. But Josh Smith, again, he has had a phenomenal season. Well, going back to Langford real quick, he had a 5-game hitting streak, a 5-game extra base hit streak, and a 5-game RBI streak going into Monday night's game against the Brewers. Now, the 2 of those stats were broken, but he did get a hit, so he's now on a 6-game hitting streak. So Wyatt Langford, one of the hottest bats in this lineup right now, but arguably one of the hottest bats in Major League Baseball. Josh Smith, currently 7th in voting for Major League All-Star game voting on the American League side. He's 7th in voting at the third base spot. So again, let's get him in, man. One more time, the Rangers All-Star voting is live again at rangers.com/vote. Let's get Josh Smith in there, man. He's done phenomenal. He's batting .303 with a career-high 7 home runs, and we're just now getting up to the halfway point of the season. So a great accomplishment already for Josh Smith. He also has 31 RBIs and an .869 OPS, which is one of the best on the team for the Rangers. So again, go to rangers.com/vote. And if you're not going to vote for anyone else, vote for Josh Smith, man. I think he's absolutely earned it to at least be on the All-Star team, especially playing at home with the numbers he's put up so far. He has done a phenomenal job for the Rangers. He kind of came into this role. He's been a utility player since the Rangers picked him and Ezekiel Duran up in that trade with the New York Yankees. He's been a utility player, and he's been utility this year too. He's played a little shortstop, a little bit in the outfield as well, but primarily at third base for Josh Young, who is could be pretty close to returning from injury. I mean, he did have a little bit of wrist soreness lately, so he is sitting for now. But we'll dive more into Josh Young in a second. But going back to Josh Smith, we get him in the All-Star game, man. He's absolutely earned it. His position, he's batting so well. He's in the top 5 in the American League in batting average. He's done a phenomenal job and filling in that role very nicely for Josh Young. Josh Smith, man, he's been one of the key offensive and defensive players for the Rangers since taking over for Josh Smith, especially on offense. He's been tearing it up lately along with Wyatt Langford. So if we can, let's vote and get Josh Smith into the All-Star game on the American League side so he can play at home in front of the hometown fans. Now, again, the Rangers, as we mentioned before, have won now 4 of their last 5, and again, completed their first 3-game series sweep against the Royals over the weekend, but it now dropped game 1 of their 3-game road series against the Milwaukee Brewers, and they'll follow that up again with a series against the Orioles. Now, the Brewers have led the National League Central for the majority of the season, if not all of it. And they're one of the top teams in the National League overall. Guys like Willie Adames, Rhys Hoskins, Christian Yelich. This team is absolutely loaded, and we saw that last night with Rhys Hoskins, the former Philadelphia Philly, hitting the go-ahead grand slam, which ended up being the insurance that the Brewers needed to take game 1 of this 3-game series against the Rangers at home. Michael Lorenzen started last night. Andrew Heaney will start tonight, Tuesday night, here in game 2 against the Brewers, and then big game, Nathan Eovaldi will start game 3 for the Rangers against the Brewers before heading into this subsequent 3-game series against the Orioles following this series against the Brewers. But a quick look at the top three in the American League West right now. The Mariners have dropped 2 of 3 in their last 2 straight series. They dropped 2 of 3 to the Marlins after dropping 2 of 3 in a series against the Cleveland Guardians. But Miami, that was kind of a head scratcher there. Miami's one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. They've been struggling start to finish, and I think they solidified their status as probably tanking after they traded their top hitter in Luis Arraez over to the San Diego Padres. So kind of perplexing that the Mariners dropped 2 of 3 in that series, but as Ron Washington would say, that's just the way baseball goes. So, and the Mariners, they started a 3-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays as they're going to back-to-back series in the state of Florida, and they dropped game 1 to the Tampa Bay Rays last night. Now the Astros, again, have won 6 straight, including a sweep of the Baltimore Orioles, and they start a 2-game series against the Colorado Rockies tonight, which will be their last home game or home series before they start a 10-game road trip that will start on, I believe, Friday night with a 3-game series against the New York Mets. So the Astros are now a full game ahead of the Rangers for second place in the American League West. And now with the Mariners' recent skid, the Astros are 5.5 games behind the Mariners, while the Rangers are 6.5 behind the Mariners. So the AL West race and the top 3 between the Mariners, Astros, and Rangers is getting closer by the day and could end up in that 3-horse race that we predicted earlier in the preseason if the Rangers and the Astros continue to do well and the Mariners skid kind of continues as well. But again, especially with the Astros creeping up, they have a very winnable 2-game series against the Rockies. Again, one of the worst teams in baseball, a team that swept the Rangers at Coors Field earlier this season. So again, kind of very hot and cold team, but again, one of the worst records in baseball do the Colorado Rockies have. And it's a very winnable series for the Astros. And the Astros take both games against the Colorado Rockies. They'll be right at 500 for the first time probably since earlier this season. So that'll be a huge series for the Astros as they try to climb their way back to the top of the American League West. And the Rangers, again, have won 4 of the last 5. But these next 2 series, especially that American League ALDS rematch against the Orioles at Camden Yards, will both be very, very pivotal when it comes to the Rangers as we reach the halfway point of the season and then still trying to tread water and try to be in the conversation for that 3-horse race in the American League Western Division as the Rangers try to fight for a playoff spot in the 2024 season. Again, a lot of baseball left, a lot of guys set to return from injury still. They're still missing a lot of guys. Josh Young, Evan Carter, Josh Spores, a lot of key cogs for this Rangers team last year are still missing from this lineup, bullpen, and starting rotation. Not to mention guys like Taylor Mahle, Jacob deGrom. Now, we still don't know the status of deGrom, if he'll even be able to return this season. And even if he is, we'll just have to see where the Rangers are with their playoff push. But Taylor Mahle is set to be returning in July. And then speaking again with Josh Young, he has been batting since his rehab started. He's gone 4 for 17 with 5 strikeouts in 4 rehab starts at AAA Round Rock. Bruce Bochy did come out and say that the goal for Josh Young is to get 30 rehab ABs rather, before getting a chance to get called up to the major league level. But he has rested the last few days as he has had wrist soreness, the wrist that he fractured. He does have soreness, so don't want to overwork it or overstress that fracture again. But he will, at least that's what was said, he should be taking live BP in Milwaukee tonight. So Tuesday night, Josh Young should be taking live BP prior to Game 2 of this 3-game series for the Rangers and this interleague series against the Milwaukee Brewers. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. Of course, we'll keep you updated on social media as well as the Texas Rangers social medias will probably keep you up to date as well. Again, the Rangers with this 3-game series against the Brewers, they've dropped the first one, now have a chance to win the next two. Andrew Heaney, although he's 2-8 on the season, had a very stellar performance against the Royals over this past weekend as well. He got the win on Friday night, and then getting another good chance against this Milwaukee Brewer team. And then Nathan Eovaldi will be starting Game 3. So if Andrew Heaney pitches like he does on Friday and Nathan Eovaldi just does his thing, the Rangers do have a chance to salvage these last 2 games of this 3-game series and secure it, which will be huge heading into this following series against the Baltimore Orioles, who are still in the conversation for the AL East Division. They are still behind the Yankees, who are one of the top teams in baseball. There's no doubt about that. The Yankees have been very hot. They have guys like Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, Giancarlo Stanton, and of course the Orioles only 2 games behind this Yankees team. So at 49-28, but this will be a very tough series for the Rangers going into this Orioles series. Again, they will probably have a little bit of revenge on their mind after getting swept by the Rangers during their World Series run in the 2023 postseason. So revenge will definitely be on their mind. It'll be a fun series. Could be another potential playoff preview between these 2 teams. Now, again, it'll depend on the Rangers. Can they get as healthy as they can and make a push for a playoff spot in the 2024 postseason? We'll keep an eye on that as the season goes on as well. But again, another pivotal series, kind of this halfway point for the Rangers as they're still trying to slowly climb their way back to the top of the AL West standing, as well as trying to fight for a wild card spot as well. And so just a couple items there to look at, and kind of want to close out the show today with looking at the roster moves. So with the Rangers calling up Max Scherzer officially for this past Sunday afternoon's game, where again he pitched five scoreless innings, only giving up 1 hit and 4 strikeouts. His call up led to Yeri Rodriguez being optioned back down to AAA Round Rock, and to make room for Max Scherzer, as well as we remembered last week, Cole Winn got called up recently to the Major League Club as well, so we'll probably start seeing him more out of the bullpen again. As we mentioned before, Josh Young, 4 for 17 with 5 strikeouts and 4 rehab starts at Round Rock, and should be getting live BP tonight at American Family Field prior to the Rangers game against the Milwaukee Brewers as well. Evan Carter still kind of nursing that lower back issue. It's an issue that he was taken out early of the series earlier this season. I believe it was against the Oakland. It was either the Oakland series or the Colorado series. They ran back to back, but I think it was early June. Evan Carter was taken out with back tightness. He'd been batting .095 in his previous 5 games prior to being taken out, and his back issues have been well documented, and they've started to creep back on him this season. And it was initially worse. It was an initially worse back injury than they thought. Nothing that'll sideline him for too much longer. He is expected to return either in late June, so in the next week or so, or probably more realistically in early July, probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks, will we see Evan Carter back in the lineup for this Rangers team. But in the meantime, Wyatt Langford has played a little bit of center field, and he's done very well in that as well. Travis Jankowski has been filling in that utility outfielder role very nicely as well for the Rangers. But again, the 2 important series coming up for the Rangers with these final 2 games of this Milwaukee series, as well as the 3-game series at Camden Yards. So we'll keep an eye on that one over the next week. And that's it. Not as long of a show today, not as much to talk about. Still a lot of important information. But again, if you want to vote for the Rangers, the All-Star voting again is live. If you go to rangers.com/vote, you can vote for your favorite Rangers players. Again, all the Rangers on the ballots as the All-Star game will be played at Globe Life Field in Arlington this year. Then the players on the ballot: Nathaniel Lowe, Marcus Semien, who's second in American League second baseman voting; Josh Smith, Corey Seager, who's third in American League shortstop voting; Jonah Heim, Evan Carter, Adolis Garcia, Leody Taveras, and Josh Young, all on the ballot for the Texas Rangers for the 2024 All-Star Game at Globe Life Field in Arlington. So again, be sure to go to Rangers.com/vote and vote for your favorite Texas Rangers players. And before we close out the show, again, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Car Motor Company in downtown Cleburne. Again, they're located at 302 South Caddo in downtown Cleburne. You can reach them online at www.txcar.com. That's www.txkar.com, or you can call them at 817-666-1111. Again, they're closed Sunday and Monday, but they're open from Tuesday to Friday, 9 to 5:30. On Saturday, they are open from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So again, a huge shout out to Car Motor Company for their sponsorship of the Texas Two-Seam podcast. And as always, appreciate you guys for tuning in. All of our social media links are, again, in the description below. All social media links for Texas Two-Seam, Outdrinking the Coverage, and L4 Media in the description below, as well as the link for the Texas Rangers Fans Only Facebook page. Again, they just hit 9,000 members. Let's help them reach their goal of 10,000 members by the end of the season. Again, that link will be listed below as well. And although we will have him on next week, the links for Jeff Wilson's, his Twitter, and RangersToday.com will be listed below as well. Again, we will have Jeff Wilson from Rangers Today next week here on the show. We'll kind of give his thoughts on a midseason review for this 2024 Texas Rangers team, as well as learn about Rangers Today, how he got started with both the newsletter, the podcast, and all the ins and outs of the Rangers Today newsletter. Again, that's rangerstoday.com. Jeff Wilson runs that. We will have him on next week. And he also does Frogs Today for all of our TCU athletic fans out there, or alumni. You can go to frogstoday.com. That's also run by Jeff Wilson as well. But we will have him on the show next week for an interview with Ranger Today's Jeff Wilson. Appreciate you guys again for tuning in to episode 10 of the Texas Two-Seam podcast, part of Outdrink the Coverage on L4 Media. Really happy that we've made it to 10 episodes so far. Again, you have Terry Bennett to blame for that, but I digress. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Texas Two-Seam podcast. Again, part of Outdrink the Coverage on L4 Media, presented by Car Motor Company. We will talk to you guys